Needs Knives, I'm Jared, and today we have a massive beast of a knife that we are going to check out, and it is by MEDFORD. This is the TFF Tactical Fighting Folder. It is an absolute beast, and I've said that many times that, MEDFORD is a company that actually makes real folding tactical knives. These are absolute hard-used, badass knives. Whether or not this thing is an actual fighter, we'll talk about that. I actually think it, it possibly could be. We'll talk about that in a second, but just the measurements and the size of this thing. This thing is near 10 inches. I think it's like 9.5 inches with over a 4-inch blade. And the weight of this thing is near 12 ounces. I think it's like between 10 and 12 ounces. But man, look at how smooth this thing is. This is one of the glassiest, smoothest MEDFORDs I've ever tried. MEDFORD's really, I've tried a lot of MEDFORDs, old MEDFORDs, new MEDFORDs, and it seems that MEDFORD has, really dialed in some things, in their factory. And one of them is the action. At least as far as the last few I've tried have been very different from the older models, as far as just the tolerance, the smoothness. I mean, this thing is so glassy smooth. It feels like it's on bearings and it's on washers and it's fairly new. Anyways, so the blade steel is S90V. And for the price, let me be clear, for the price, like you can get this thing, let me see, you can get this thing, very similar to this for $680 right now. I'll link it down in the description. It's not an S90V version, but there might be an S90V version. I'll link whatever I can down in the description. But think about this, Maxace. Maxace has knives similar to this, like meaning like just beastly crazy knives. And they're like $400, $500, $600 right there with poor quality heat treat. No, let me be clear, not poor quality heat treat, soft heat treat. But MEDFORD does really, really good heat treatments. So you're getting 100% USA made knife for $680 with a quality heat treat. Look at that clip. That clip, I love it. I think it's badass. I love how you can see through it and you can see the lock bar stabilizer there. Basically, it stops you from unspringing the lock. Nice strong tension on that lock. Good access to the lock bar. I already said stupid smooth. The lock face geometry looks beautiful. Look at the size of the damn stop pin. So they don't just make big knives. This is a big, very tough, very strong, very solid knife. Every which way around, even down to the stop pin. I can't stand it when I see a tough knife, a big hard use knife, and then it's got a little dinky stop pin. Love the pivot. Now he does do regular pivots or regular hardware now. I'm surprised that this one, being from 2023, doesn't have a Torx T20 or T15 or whatever he does. You see these are all, I think these are torque bits, but he either does an Allen wrench or torque bits now. So anyways, this one's proprietary. It just is what it is. Nice hollow ground blade, 190 thousandths blade stock. This thing is an absolute beast, but it has a hollow grind, so it actually gets down to a relatively decent edge considering. Yeah, it's still thick, it's still hard use, it's still tough, but let's measure what it is. With their edge angle, we're looking at about 30 thousandths behind the edge. So something I would absolutely think that this thing should be, because you're talking about, you can axe with this thing. This thing it's almost like a folding machete. You can thrust with it, you could chop with it, you can slice with it, and because it's a hollow grind, it's gonna, stay relatively thin even after a few sharpenings. It is kind of a shallow hollow, but it's a beautiful hollow though. You can tell it's done by hand, the way it turns right here, because if it was done by a machine, it would just be straight across. The fact that it turns right here shows that a hand did it, which is beautiful. And I love the finish work that MEDFORD has. It's like a, almost like a mirrored stone wash. You can see me right there. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous finish. What kind of edge would I put on this or recommend to put on this? Well, the owner usually requests low angle edges, and then depending on the steel and everything, you know, depends on what finish he wants. This is S90V, so personally, I would want to go medium to low grit, you know, probably more medium grit, unless if, you know, the owner wanted otherwise. And probably because it's so, you know, thicker behind the edge, being a hard use knife, you know, I wouldn't probably go lower than probably 17 degrees per side. If you're really wanting it slicey, 15 degrees per side to be really nice as well. That'll make this thing really, really slicey. But if you want to hold the toughness to it, you know, then I would say 17 degrees per side, because it has enough stability behind, you know, the edge to be tough at 17. You know, 20 degrees per side is a tough edge. 17 degrees per side lowers the toughness and increases the sharpness and cutting performance. But when you have, you know, when it's nice and thick, you know, you can get away with a little bit of a lower angle while still holding on to some toughness. Listen to the sound of the lockup. I mean, this thing, it just sounds like a vault door. And then on this exact one, you can see we got a flag. You can barely see it, but there is a flag on there. Now, like I said, there's so many different options with these. He does, you know, like a lot of them are custom. So there's, you know, custom flame work, all different kinds. You know, I'm sure I've put up pictures for you guys. I really like the jimping all the way around because it's not super aggressive, but it feels like, you know, if I had to bash something with it, it would absolutely cut it open. And this thing feels like that type of knife, you know, a knife, like I said, that you could thrust with and get a lot of distance with. So if you wanted to keep something at bay, you could definitely, you know, spear it. It is a spear point blade, so it's going to be good for thrusting. And if you had to chop and swing or, you know, break something down, you absolutely could. And then you could also treat it like a big heavy duty folding pocket knife for regular cutting purposes as well. What a monster, man. I love checking stuff like this out. This is the first time I've gotten to try one of these. I've tried a lot of MEDFORDs, and MEDFORD is like, they do a lot of EDC knives, by the way. I want to make that clear. Now they do a lot of EDC knives. They do a lot of large EDC knives to small EDC knives. Every knife across the board, MEDFORD is doing right now. But they are known. They're known for doing the ridiculous badass knives, badassery all the way around, and nobody can deny that. They were almost like the first, I don't know, maybe not the first, but I feel like they were the first, like real hard use tactical folding knives made in the USA that are just built like a damn bank vault. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, some people would argue, you know, it's a frame lock, still it's a frame lock. Yeah, but when you're squeezing this thing, man, you know, even without squeezing it, I got a couple MEDFORDs that, and I know some people have had MEDFORDs, you know, where they've batoned with it and it's failed. But I've also seen some that have just held up like, like a damn bank vault. So, you know, the lock face geometry does play a part, and they usually are really good with it. But I do know that there were some in the past that were slipping. But that goes for all locks and all knives. So, you know, MEDFORD's not, you know, excluded from that. Anyways, like I was saying about the heat treatment though, this is going to be very well done heat treated S90V. It's going to be done in small batches. So, you know, you can basically guarantee that they're going to have a premium heat treatment on this, which is something that, you know, a lot of companies, when you're paying $300, $400, $500 for, you're not getting. You're absolutely not getting. You're getting, okay, you could say you're getting a decent heat treatment, but you're not getting a how can I say it? You're not getting an optimal heat treat, meaning like, yes, okay, the heat treat might be okay, but it's soft, right? Or maybe it's not soft, but the heat treatment's not good. You know, so you got to have both of those. And every MEDFORD I've tested, every MEDFORD I've sharpened have all been like super good. They've all felt really good on the stones, the deburring, just everything, you know, and through it feels like really good quality. Now, I could sit here and rave about this thing all day. It's an absolute badass knife. I'll link everything I can down in the description if you want to check out some other Medfords too, because like I said, they have so many different kinds. And that's the beautiful thing with Medford. 100% USA made, and now he's got knives on bearings. He's got sleek knives, slim knives. He's got every kind of knife. He's even got an OTF now. So yes, he is doing the damn deal. Shout out to Medford Knives and Tools. Work hard, stay tough. You know society's relying on you. Until next time, peace.